It is another beautiful day here in Park City, and I'm visiting the Park City AirMed base. I'm joined by my friend Doug Morgan, the Chief Flight Paramedic. How are you today, Doug?
I'm great, thank
Good.
you. How are you, Chelsea?
I'm doing so well, and
Good.
thank you for inviting us out here. We're so excited to be here to share all that you guys do with our viewers. We're going on a flight a little bit later today, but first off, let's talk about the duties of AirMed. What do you guys do?
AirMed is a flight program that we transport critically ill and injured patients to the University Hospital, or actually to any area that they would like to go. Our flight program consists of 4 helicopters and 2 planes covering a very, very large geographical area of the U.S. And because we are associated with the University of Utah Burn Center, we transport a majority of our patients come by plane from remote areas to our burn center, as well as for any other kind of specialty care that they may need.
So AirMed has been here for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think about 4 years probably. We've been at this base for several years, but before then we were over in Kimball Junction area, but we just relocated our base. But we've been committed to Summit County for many, many years.
Excellent. And how many bases do you have in the state of Utah?
We have 5 bases, 4 bases in the state of Utah, and then we have 1 in Rock Springs, Wyoming, believe it or not.
Wow, that's amazing, the area that you guys cover and the people that you assist, the rescue and transport missions that you do. How many patients do you transport a year?
So AirMed, the program itself, and we have a couple of specialty teams as well, but we transport about a total of 2,000 patients a year to a variety of different receiving facilities. In our program is one of only 4 flight teams in the country that's called a high-risk OB team, and what we do is we specialize in transporting just pregnant moms that are in distress to another level of care. And like I said, we're very proud to say that we're one of only 4 teams in the country with that specialty certification.
Wow, that is quite the specialty. And I have to know, how long does it take you guys, like say you're picking up a patient here in Summit County, how long does it take you to get over to the hospital on the other side of the mountains?
So if we were called by, say, a ground ambulance or a fire department for transport of a patient, we can get there in just under about 16 minutes from here to the university helipad. And
can you fly me to work? Because I'm coming from Salt Lake, please. That would be amazing.
Well, we don't have any red lights.
Come on.
And we go straight over the mountains, so we can get there very, very quickly, very, very efficiently.
All right. And what's the difference, or I guess, when would a situation merit using a helicopter versus an ambulance? What's the differentiation there?
So we have 2 different kinds of flights in the AirMed program. We have what we call scene flights, and then we have interfacility transports. So let me go to the scene flights first. Our scene flights are where we're called by ground paramedics or ground firefighters to transport a critically injured patients. And these kinds of patients are, say, falls off horses, automobile accidents, gunshots, stabbings, hangings, drownings, those kinds of things. The things that make the news are the types of patients that we'll transport from the scene. And we'll be called at the request of professional paramedics on the ground or even volunteer EMTs to transport a patient that they feel is so critical that they can't take the hour or so to get to the trauma center. They'll call us, we'll come in, we'll package them up. We may need to do some interventions in the process, and then we'll take them to the hospital. This aircraft actually covers more than just the 3 resorts. We cover all of the resorts in Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon because it's all on the back side of the mountains here. So we have about a 6 or 8 minute response time to Snowbird, Alta, Brighton, Solitude. So we have a very large geographical area for scene flights. And then this aircraft also covers up into Wyoming, such as Evanston, Rock Springs, can go over to Vernal and Roosevelt as well. So it's a large geographical area for this base.
Winter sports versus summer outdoor sports, what are kind of the different accidents that you're seeing in summer versus as opposed to winter?
So winter, common accidents are ski injuries, head injuries, avalanche calls, those kinds of winter-related injuries, resort kind of related incidents. And then in the summer, we're in that transition period now where we're going to be flying more patients that are mountain bike injuries, backcountry rescues, ATV accidents, horse accidents, those kind of summer related. We'll see more drownings, obviously, in the summer than we do in the wintertime. So.
I mean, if you could tell one thing to people to help them be safer when they're enjoying, our beautiful mountain town and all along the Wasatch Front, what would you say to them to stay safe?
It's really simple. It's the same stuff that your mother tells you to do. Wear your seatbelt, wear your helmet, don't drink and drive, obey the speed limit. Those are all things that are very, very simple, but unfortunately a segment of our population doesn't wear their seatbelt. they don't wear their helmets, they do drink and drive, and unfortunately that usually will result in business for us.
All right, some great tips to definitely integrate into your daily schedule. Doug, thank you so much, and we're going to take a look at the chopper now. All right, we went over to the other side of the helicopter now, and you're going to show us how the long-range receiver works. You guys actually assist with a lot of avalanche rescue missions.
We do. We frequently get called by our friends at Wasatch Backcountry Rescue or a local search and rescue agency because they have a trapped victim in an avalanche. If the victim is wearing a beacon on their person, we can hopefully help locate them by using our aircraft. And how that works is this is our long-range receiver, or our LRR. In the AirMed family, you have 3 of these. We have one in Ogden, one in Payson, and one here in Summit County. So what happens is when we get requested, we fly over the area that we're requested to respond to, and we'll deploy this. And it's very simple. It's just a matter of some cabling with the long-range receiver. We'll actually hang this out of the aircraft and then attach it. We'll plug this in, and we are able to hear the person's beacon that's buried over the slide path. Then what we will do is we'll drop a little marker over that area, and the search and rescue people are going to be shuttled in by another aircraft. We can drop 2 rescuers and a dog right there where we've located the patient, and hopefully they can unbury them and get them rescued.
Doug, that's amazing. And I have to know, we were talking earlier about conditions, the difference between a helicopter flying in bad weather versus a plane. And you know, during the winter, we have a lot of crazy snowstorms come in. How do you guys deal with that when you're out on a search and all of a sudden a storm's coming in? What happens? Are there still ground crews down there? When do you say, oh, we need to stop this search?
So we have to always work under the umbrella of safety. It doesn't do us any good to accept a mission if we can't complete it safely. So our pilots will check the weather on every mission that we get requested to. Regardless, even today, the pilot's going to look at the weather and make a decision before he or she accepts that flight. Once we're airborne, if the weather should change, then we use crew resource management to figure out what is the most safe way. And it may mean just setting down right there where you are. But we try very, very hard not to get ourselves in that situation. Try to make sure that we're always going to get there safely and get home safely.
All right, this next segment is really exciting. This is about night vision and how it assists the pilots and all the paramedics. And you've got it right here. Tell me about this, Doug.
So these are our night vision goggles, or more commonly known as NVGs. And we have made the very significant investment in AirMed crew safety to make sure that we have 3 sets of these on each aircraft. So the pilot, the nurse, and the medic are on goggles whenever we accept a mission in the evening in pitch black. As you well know, it gets very, very dark in many of the canyons, and this enables us to see virtually almost like daylight conditions with night vision goggles. It's the same military technology that you see the Marines use in Afghanistan and in Iraq. It's the same military grade technology, and so all of us have to be trained in how to use these, and it's just a very, very wonderful safety enhancement for our program.
Doug, can you describe how night vision works for those who are unfamiliar with kind of the process of, you know, picking up that sense?
It's a lot of that is driven on by the light that's available to it. It pulls it all in there collectively and disperses that so that you can see. So if we have a full moon, for example, we're going to have better night vision goggles capability than if we have really no moon at all.
Alan let me sit in the cockpit, which is kind of a big deal. Thanks for letting me get in here. You trust me, right, to turn this thing on and fly it away?
Start it up for us.
Well, that's what you're going to show me right now. So we have the throttle here and all these buttons that I have no idea what in the world you do, and that's where you come into the picture. So we have it lit up so that we can kind of see maybe a little bit of what it is that you do while you're in flight. So you go through a pre-flight check. What are some of the things that you do?
Well, we check all the control systems. The computer system, all the loud noise you heard, was it booting up essentially, and checking its systems itself to make sure that everything is running properly and it's getting all the input signals it needs to properly maintain the aircraft in flight. So this is the cyclic right here, and this controls the 360 degrees of movement.
So I can move this right now, we're okay.
It's not going to move much right now, but you can move it.
Okay.
And if you put your feet up down there, those are the pedals. They control yaw, so that the right and left of the helicopter's nose. And then
so this turns me. Those?
This turns you. That keeps you in trim.
Okay.
The best aerodynamic.
Pilot talk.
Right. Position in the air. And then on the left side here, you have a throttle, and you have a collective, and that controls power and rotor RPM. The rotor RPM is governed once you get it into full flight mode. So
wow, this is amazing. And I can see, I mean, being in a small plane versus being in a helicopter, you definitely have a larger range of vision
we do
in
have
front
good
of you
vision,
and around you.
and that is an advantage when we're going into small spaces in the mountains and things like that.
So what is it like for you as a pilot? You know, Utah's weather is just crazy. We have everywhere from, you know, and it was funny, originally when we took off, you know, it was perfect weather. Then we get up there and I don't know if you can hear how windy it is. It's just crazy. What are some of the changes that you deal with serving a mountain town area?
And we deal with those changes as you just discussed, and you know, we can pick up on a calm day and then 5 minutes later we're dealing with 30, 40 knot gusts. And we watch the weather closely all day long during our shift, day and night, so that we're apprised of what's going on with the weather. We can make the best decision for the patient and for our own safety before we decide to go up in the air.
And Alan, I have to ask you, you know, as a pilot, you don't necessarily you're not necessarily involved in the services that you give to the patient, but you know, you make it possible for them to get from point A to point B. What is it like for you working with AirMed? You guys do so much for the community.
It's great working with AirMed. We're a national company. We work for Air Methods, and we contract with the university Create AirMed. And working with the folks at AirMed and the university, they're such great professionals. It makes our job easy. It really does. And it makes getting up in the morning and coming to work easy. And we know when we get in as a team of 3 every day that everyone's prepared to do what they need to do. And knowing that allows me to concentrate on the safety of flight, to keep them safe, to keep the patient safe, and get done what we need to get done.
So, as you've noticed in here already, this is a very small working environment for us. It's very cramped quarters in here. You get a couple big, a medic and a nurse back here with fighting for elbow room. We have to move that patient clear forward up in the front part of the aircraft so that we can have access to work on them here, unless there's something about their injuries or their medical condition that requires them to be back like you are, and then we sit kind of opposite one another like we are here. But yeah, the trade-off of a fast ambulance response or a fast helicopter ride to the hospital and having us being able to bring all this extra equipment is we trade space for speed and efficiency sometimes. Even dealing with the turbulence and stuff like we have today, we have to stay busy starting an IV or working with the cardiac monitor or placing a breathing tube in you. And so you have to get really good at kind of eliminating the environment and the distractions to really focus on the patient while we're back here. And as you can see, based on kind of just a little bit of what's happened on a beautiful flying day, it can be a challenge sometimes. So probably the thing that really separates us apart is some of the advanced procedures that ordinarily are reserved for emergency room physicians or up in an ICU, we can do back here. So if you have a collapsed lung from a traumatic event, I can place a tube in there to reinflate your lung. If you're not breathing well or if you've stopped breathing, I can place a breathing tube in you and begin to breathe and ventilate for you. All the things that we do on the cardiac monitor, if your heart's not beating fast enough, I can pace it and speed it up. In addition to the speed and the timeliness of our response in the helicopter, the other real advantage of a flight team, and really the difference is those life-saving interventions that we can do while we're minimizing that time it takes to get somebody to a hospital.
We certainly take care of a lot of people that are really hurt, and we take care of a lot of people that are really sick. But a lot of times we bring people that are very stable, that certainly need the care at one of these other hospitals, but they're really okay. And so not every call is that high stress, high anxiety, high emotion kind of thing. It's a great job. I mean, 22 years of doing this, I can't imagine anything else I'd rather do in my entire life. And no 2 days are ever the same. And that's what's really awesome about the jobs.
So we made it back on the ground. I just wanted to give a big thank you to AirMed, Doug Morgan. Of course, we have Jason and Alan next to us, the pilot and a flight paramedic as well. You guys, that was such a great ride. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We really appreciated you having us out here today.
No, thanks for coming and spending some time with us.
Perfect. Thank you. And great flying job, Alan. You did perfect up there.
I'm glad you had a good time.
And I have to ask you, did you make some of those turns on purpose? Because I felt sideways.
Of course not.
Are you sure?
No, no, I would never do that.
I don't know about that. Is he telling me the truth? All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Be sure to check out AirMed for more information. And thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back here with more on Park City Television.